Back in the 60s, music wasn't just heard as a sound. It was felt in your soul, your bones, and sometimes in your hallucinations. Those times birthed some psychedelic classics that have slipped through time's cracks. Let's visit those times, open the time capsule, and remind the world what true rock sounds like. Here's a look at 15 rock songs that you forgot were awesome. A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, 1967. When you hit play and the iconic Procol Harum track, A Whiter Shade of Pale, comes on, you know there's no going back. This wasn't just a song, it was an entire trip in just one track. From the subtle sounds of the organ made to the depth of the words in the lyrics, this track has a brooding sense of mystery and would take listeners on a dreamy ride. Even the owner of the song had confessed at some point that the lyrics of the song remain a mystery to him. You could tell how good a song this is and how much it needs not to be forgotten. Incense and Peppermints, Strawberry Alarm Clock, 1967. If you were young and restless in '67, this song was the sound of your rebellion wrapped up in one package that should not be forgotten. Before the release of this song, the band had already released 4 singles, but none could match up with the vibes and energy that comes with it. The same year it was launched, this song spent 16 weeks on the Billboard chart and finally reached the #1 spot. Listening to this song would make you feel so many emotions at once. Time of the Season by the Zombies, 1968. The Zombies gave us Time of the Season, and this was an entire mood. With a smooth bass line, the organ, and Rod's breathtaking voice, this track oozed with sensuality and so much freedom. That bass line? Smooth as silk. The organ? Hypnotic. What's your name? Who's your daddy? That opening line had every listener leaning forward, feeling like they'd just been let in on a secret. It wasn't just about the lyrics, though. The vibe that came with the song. It was just a shift from the regular rock songs people were used to. Ride My Seesaw by the Moody Blues, 1968. Oh man, if you were looking for something to kickstart your day and increase your energy levels, Ride My Seesaw was that song. Should still be that song, only that in some way a lot of people do not know the timeless sound the Moody Blues had created. It wasn't just about fun though. The lyrics were clever, throwing questions at you about growing up and the choices you make along the way. Back in '68, life felt like a seesaw for a lot of folks, teetering between rebellion and responsibility, and this track captured and explained that feeling perfectly well. Billboard praised the single as a blockbuster rocker, then highlighting its ability to come on strong with all the ingredients to spiral to the top in short order. They called it a mover from start to finish. Similarly, Cashbox described it as a dance track with powerful teen attraction, emphasizing its polished vocals and undeniable appeal. That he was a tease. Laugh Laugh by the Beau Brummels, 1965. Let's start this off with one of the Beau Brummels' most memorable tracks. The song Laugh Laugh hit the airwaves in 1965, and man, it did have that sound that made you lean in a little. Picture this: jangly guitars, heartfelt vocals, deep lyrics, and a message that wasn't just about love. It was about making sense of a world that sometimes felt like a bad dream. Those harmonies and catchy beats stay with you for life and leave you reflecting on memories from way back. The Beau Brummels might not have had the longest ride, but this particular song will always stand as proof of their place in psych history. Pandora's Golden Heebie Jeebies by The Association, 1966. What a title, huh? a lot of people from this generation would surely find the title interesting and long. Still, this doesn't change the fact that this is one psychedelic sound for the books. Released in 1966, this gem stands apart from the association's usual pop sound that everyone in the 60s was used to. It's mystical, exotic, and far more psychedelic than their chart-friendly hits like Cherish. With its hypnotic riffs and offbeat rhythm, blending Eastern influences with Western pop, this song takes you somewhere else right from the beginning. The song was released at a time when artists were starting to try out Indian instruments, and it's one of the early experiments in that style. And those lyrics? They're emotionally resonant. Lyrics like, "Yes, the night is leaving, found yourself receiving," draw listeners into their world of self-discovery. The song didn't soar and go viral commercially like the association's lighter fare, but fans of the psychedelic era still treasure it for its daring uniqueness. This wasn't just a pop tune, it was an exploration that should not be forgotten so soon.
And then
Along Came Mary by the Association, 1966. The next song that left its mark on psych history was Along Comes Mary, and you can tell that by 66, things were already shifting. It wasn't just your regular kind of simple, solemn sound. From the first strum of the guitar to the lyrics that would swiftly hit you like the waves and the pop vibes you'll feel. With this hit, you would know that those in the 60s listened to songs that made them feel like they were waking up to another type of freedom, renewed their vibes, and enjoyed rock songs a little bit harder. Even though the song was full of cheeky suggestions here and there, it was still so big. It became one of the most well-known songs in the psych genre. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles, 1967. With the Beatles, this song needs no introduction. It can be best described as one of the quintessential psychedelic anthems of the 60s. Featured on the groundbreaking Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album, this song features the vibrant, mind-bending creativity of the era. The magic starts with that dreamy melody on the organ, painting a world of kaleidoscopic imagery that you can visualize. This song pulls you deep into its fantasy world. Its perfect mix of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland whimsy and the experimental studio genius of the Beatles. Now to the infamous rumors. People couldn't stop saying this was all about LSD because of the initials in the title. The band maintained it wasn't intentional, with John Lennon insisting the inspiration came from a drawing by his son Julian. Regardless, the trippy vibes in both the sound and the lyrics undeniably fit the psychedelic mood. And that switch to Paul McCartney's bouncy chorus is just as exhilarating now as it was back in '67. Windy by the Association, 1967. Who's tripping down the streets of the city, smiling at everybody she sees? That opening line still grabs your attention and leaves you wondering exactly who Windy is. Originally written by Ruthin Friedman and recorded by the Association, the song made history. That upbeat tempo, those catchy lyrics, it wasn't just a song. It felt like an anthem for the dreamers of summer kind of love. There is no way you would hear this song and not feel lighter. The song went further to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 the same year it was released.
I want to know if
Magic Hollow by Beau Brummels, 1967. Part of their critically acclaimed Triangle album, it's a track that blends beauty with a touch of melancholy and still gives us that psychedelic feel. Magic Hollow by Beau Brummels is one of those tracks that can be used to relive the moment in the 1960s. The instrumentation here is enchanting lush strings and soft acoustic guitars are paired with a haunting vocal melody. There's a storytelling element to this song that is so relatable and pulls you in. It's not overly trippy with flashing colors and swirling soundscapes, but it's full of subdued psychedelia. The lyrics invite you into a journey, making you feel like you're standing in that magical hollow yourself. While Beau Brummels never reached the fame of the Byrds or the Beatles, this track has earned its place among the most artistic creations of the late 60s. Fans of deep songwriting will surely find this one impossible to forget. All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, 1967. If we time travel to when the Beatles stepped up with this track, they weren't just giving us song. They gave us the philosophy that should be passed down from one generation to another and not forgotten. Even though it's sad, All You Need Is Love was that track, simple yet profound, and making a shared experience for millions of people. In the haze of war, protest, and political upheaval, this track was like light, reminding everyone of the core truth that love conquers all. It's got that Beatles charm we all loved for them. Effortless, but deeply impactful. If you heard this song back then, you couldn't help but believe that maybe, someday, love could fix whatever mess you get into. And if that ain't the heart of the 60s, I don't know what is. Tomorrow by Strawberry Alarm Clock, 1968. Strawberry Alarm Clock, hearing the title of the song, takes you back to the bright vibes, rhythm, and color of the psychedelic era. While most people know them for Incense and Peppermints, Tomorrow is every bit as captivating. I'm sure those from the 60s can relate. This song is a sunshine-filled trip with its swirling organ riffs, jangly guitars, and punchy vocals. The upbeat tempo screams optimism, urging listeners to embrace what's to come. Lines like "Tomorrow is the first day of forever" perfectly reflects the carefree, free-spirited vibes of that era. Although it didn't achieve the same commercial success as their debut hit, the song remains an undeniable reflection of 1968. It's a standout for anyone looking to experience the playful and energetic side of psychedelia history over and over again. One Fine Morning by Lighthouse, 1969. Here's one for the dreamers, the song One Fine Morning by Lighthouse. For anyone stuck in a routine back in 1969, this song was a wake-up call. It made you want to break free, hop on your bike, and race towards the sunrise. It's the kind of music that doesn't just lift your mood, it makes you believe in something brighter ahead. This track came from the Lighthouse self-titled album, and it quickly became their signature hit, cementing the band's place in rock history. With its thundering opening of drum and bass, blazing guitar riff, and a mix of horns and strings, Lighthouse didn't just play music, they created an experience. The title track reached number 2 in Canada, number 24 in the US, and charted across the globe. The song's sound was bold, uplifting, and unapologetically grand, with its massive arrangement performed by 11 musicians, each adding their own bits to the song. When lead singer Bob McBride belts out his words, it doesn't just feel like ordinary lyrics. It feels like a promise, full of hope and an invitation to break free from the ordinary. For people in the 60s and early 70s, One Fine Morning felt like an anthem for a generation yearning for change, adventure, and something bigger than the status quo. Hung Up on a Dream by the Zombies, 1968. On our number 2 spot, we have Hung Up on a Dream by the Zombies. This song feels like stepping into a beautiful, haunting reverie. Taken from the iconic Odyssey and Oracle album, this track exudes the kind of artistry that defines what makes great psychedelic music. Not just any psych song, but one that should not be forgotten for any reason. Every line feels like a reflective sigh, with Colin Blunstone's vocals carrying the melody effortlessly. The lyrics are poetic, even a little wistful. It wasn't the time of our lives, it was the best of times. There's an underlying sadness to it, like realizing that dreams, however vivid, could often slip through your fingers if you do nothing about it. It's not a chaotic jam like Hendrix or Cream. It's more melodic, with the right emotional depth for that genre. And that chorus? It swells with hope, and as if trying to grasp a fading dream one last time. It's subtle, yet powerfully evocative. I Am the Walrus by the Beatles, 1967. This standout psychedelic masterpiece that captures the experimental spirit of the late 60s sure deserves the #1 spot. Featured on their Magical Mystery Tour album, the track is renowned for its surreal, nonsensical lyrics inspired by Lewis Carroll and John Lennon's playful imagination. The song combines rock with orchestral elements, layering rich, dreamlike sounds that evoke a hallucinogenic vibe. With its innovative production and bizarre yet captivating storytelling, it stands as a testament to the Beatles' pioneering role in psychedelic music. This is surely one unforgettable gem for the 60s that should not be forgotten in music history. That's it for today's trip through these psychedelic rock songs from the 60s you probably forgot were awesome. Whether you were there, wish you were there, or just discovered these sounds, they deserve a spot on your playlist. Let's bring these forgotten gems out of the shadows and back into the spotlight where they belong. Subscribe to our channel to discover more about vintage America.